good evening, I'm Kristin Bauer, but you know that already. But this is my, I was going to say, and I can't not say this, this is my sexy lesbian vampire lover. Hi.
And we're thrilled to be here tonight to pay tribute to the extraordinary Angela Robinson, whose work as a writer and director in film and television makes her a very worthy recipient for the Outfest Fusion Achievement Award.
Yeah. So we know what you're thinking. Not another lesbian telling stories about vampires, super spies, race car drivers, and well-endowed gigolos. Like, how many times have we seen that?
No, but it's her ability to jump back and forth between media and between very different genres that makes Angela such a unique and fascinating filmmaker.
Many directors go to the Sundance Film Festival with, you know, lovely movies, but sort of talky relationship movies, probably entirely set in their parents' living room. But that's just not how Angela rolls. With her short film and feature D.E.B.S, she told a lesbian, coming-of-age, romantic story set in the world of secret agents and diabolical villainesses.
And with D.E.B.S, Angela showed the world that she could marry realistic, meaningful characters with larger-than-life genres, and it's a skill that has served her well ever since.
With the success of D.E.B.S, that put Angela behind the wheel of Herbie Fully Loaded, which made her the first out lesbian to direct a movie for a Disney family comedy. And her dance card has remained full ever since.
And in addition to her work on such prestigious cable series as The L Word and Hung and True Blood, of course, she has brought her singularly entertaining vision to the web with Girl Trash, and even as a writer for DC Comics, making her the patron saint of lesbian nerds everywhere.
Here's a look at some of the different journeys we've been lucky enough to take with Angela. With more TV and movie projects soon to come, and the episode we're shooting of True Blood right now. Woo! Angela will continue to create characters that we love and send them out to fight the forces of darkness and vampires and werewolves and shapeshifters and fairies and into outer space and anything that her imagination comes up with.
Here to receive the Outfest Fusion Achievement Award, please welcome the one and only, our girl, Angela Robinson.
Hello. All right, let me get this situated. I broke my ankle, so bear with my gimpness as I do this one-footed. Hello. Yeah, I wish I could say I did something like really cool, but I didn't. I just fell down some stairs. So it's all good. I want to thank Outfest Fusion, Kristin Schaefer, the board and staff of Outfest. These lovely ladies, thank you so much for coming out tonight. I really, really appreciate it. It's so cool. It's actually hard to clap and stand on one foot at the same time. I want to thank Outfest Fusion for giving me this award for all-around biracial lesbian awesomeness. I'm flattered and grateful to be acknowledged for my work thus far in the industry. When I was thinking about what I was going to say tonight, I thought that over the years for me, it's been relatively easy for me to be gay, or for me to be black, or for me to be a woman. But it's when you combine these three things together that things start to get funky. You're trying to serve the intersection of multiple identities, which is why we're all here. And it's what makes Outfest Fusion unique. So I decided I would tell you the story of the parking space. I was hired by Disney to direct a movie called Herbie Fully Loaded, which you saw some clips from. I was broke, I had a shitty car. I looked like I usually do, that is to say, pretty dykey. My hair was shorter. And now I would always walk into Disney, and I don't know if any of you have been to this particular studio, but it has this massive Greek kind of facade. And on top of the facade, there are stone-carved the 7 dwarfs on top of it. So it kind of creates this really scary kind of monolith entrance. And it's absolutely silent. It's like a mausoleum. It's very intimidating. And I would walk into Disney, and invariably when I get to reception, the receptionist would barely look up and say, the messenger entrance is around the corner, without fail. And then I had to patiently explain that no, I was not there with a delivery. I was there to direct the movie. And this would happen a lot. So for the purposes of my story, you need to know two things. First, I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but at the studio, your relative importance is measured by how far away your parking space is to the actual building in which you'll be working. And my parking space was 4 flights down in this circuitous underground parking structure, which was actually considered to be a pretty good parking space. And the second thing you need to know is that on every studio I've ever been to, the security staff is 80 to 90% African American, sometimes 100%. I'm not sure why, it's just true in LA. And so at Disney, it took me a while to realize that the African American security staff was rooting for me. They were rooting for me to be there. First, they just were nice and remembered my name and would wave me in. And then they'd give everybody else a really hard time with IDs and like checking under, like with weird things for bombs and stuff. But for me, they'd just be like, go on in, go on. And then one day, the head security guy, he's like, why don't you go park over there? And I was like, no, I'll go down my 4 flights. And he's like, no, go park over there. And he directed me to park right in the like front VIP section. like the VIPs section, you know what I mean? Like right there under the stone dwarves. For the duration of the shoot, I parked my shitty little car in the VIP spaces beneath the dwarves. And this small act of kindness or defiance or charity, I'm not sure which, made me painfully aware that I was probably the only Black director on that lot, or the only woman director, or the only lesbian director, but definitely the only Black lesbian director. The security people watched everybody come and go all day long, and I was the only one who looked like me. And to this day, whenever I'm on a studio lot and I see another Black person, we exchange a nod of recognition, because it's so rare. It's really like, oh, they let you through? And we're like, yeah. We kind of, give each other kind of a mental high five. And, I incidentally give the same nod of recognition to Black people on ski slopes. Equally rare. So I'm kind of an outlier. I've made it through the gates, and I've cribbed my VIP parking space, and I walk into these halls of power. And the receptionist finally acknowledges that I'm not a messenger, but in fact the director of their summer tent pole. And I think I've made it. Woo! Now what? Well, now comes the task of convincing a bunch of mostly white executives that they've done the right thing by handing you $5, $10, $60, $100 million to make a movie, which is what we're all here to do. Or, most of us. So then the question is, if I'm such a rarity, why did they give me the job? Which I ask myself a lot. And I've come to believe that this is actually this intersection of identities, this, pardon my pun, fusion, that ironically helps me get the job. And here's a sample of what I think happens when I walk into rooms at a studio that I haven't been in before. I walk in, and there is this kind of confusion. I can see this brief panic in the executive's eyes as their brains are like, they're like, is she Black? Is she white? Is she a boy? Is she a girl? Is she rich? Is she poor? Like they're confused. It's not settling down into something that they can identify, that they can get a handle on. And I've come to believe that this confusion is a good thing, because this moment is what I like to call the gap. There is a gap where they don't know what to think. And in that moment is when I start talking. And I try to fill that gap with ideas, hopefully intelligent ideas, creative ideas. Because people's brains, they want to close down, and they want to put things into categories, and they want to understand, and then they can dismiss them. But if you take advantage of this gap where they don't know what the hell's going on, then I find you can fill the gap for them and with whatever you want. And that, for me, has been the key. People often, I'm like on a lot of panels. Everybody loves me for a panel because I'm all three things. I get the women panels, the black panels, the gay panels. So all the time, people are like, is Hollywood racist? Is it sexist? Is it homophobic? And the answer is yes. Yes. Unequivocally, unqualified, resounding, yes it is. It is all those things. And that's kind of the given. And then people ask, what should we do about it? And I say, I don't know, but don't let it stop you. Don't even let it slow you down. Just let it pass you by. Let it go. Don't even think about it. Because your identity will infuse everything you do as an artist. That stuff will come. Instead, be who you are and say what you think. And instead of worrying about it, be really good at what you do, what you choose to do. I personally, I don't believe, there's many filmmakers here, I don't believe in auteur theory. Like, I barely believe in the notion of talent. I do believe in hard work. And everybody I know who's been successful, they work really, really hard, and then they work harder, and then they work harder still to try to get their vision out there and do what they think is right. So if I can offer any advice, it would be to support each other and to build community like you guys are doing tonight. And I think it's really important because every break I've had in this town has been from somebody who is gay or lesbian or an LGBT ally. And most of all, I'd encourage you to mind this gap. Use what makes you different, what makes you unique, to your advantage. Turn it into an asset. Tell your stories, because people want to hear them. I want to congratulate the Outfest Fusion filmmakers. The hardest thing to do in the world is to write down what you really think and feel and put it out there for people to respond to. It takes bravery, and I applaud you. The world's changing, and you guys are going to be the ones to change it. And I really, really appreciate you showing me this rad clip reel, because it was really, really cool. Thanks for this honor.